Hello everyone, this is Shlok, and in today's video we look at a question that may not necessarily make your interview but definitely has the potential to break your interview, and that question is why MBA. In addition to that, we also take a look at some personality based questions. So without further ado, let's get started. The first most important question that not just the panel is going to ask you but something that you should be very well aware of and should be convinced about is the reason behind why you want to pursue an MBA. And one of the most obvious answers and something that ideally or really comes to mind very, very quickly is the fact that you want to make more money, you want a better pay package, you want to progress in your career. But that necessarily does not form a very good answer, as a lot of us are aware about that. But the reason behind that is something that most people don't know. And the reason is that it shows that your goals are shallow and that they are self-serving. So this is something that you don't want your answer to reflect. What instead you want your answer to reflect is the fact that you want to gain new skills, is the fact that you want to contribute to a particular industry, or you want to contribute to a particular organization, or let's say if you're an entrepreneur, you want to contribute to society at large. So that is the kind of lens with which we should approach our why MBA answer. Once we understand this, we start framing our answer. And for that, the first step is that we ask ourselves, where is it that we see ourselves in the next 5 or 10 years? And you don't want to answer this by saying I see myself in the position of a chief executive in XYZ company or whatever industry that you want to work in, because this focuses too narrowly on the position. What instead you should be focusing on is the kind of skills that you build, is the kind of impact that you have, is the kind of team that you will lead, and most importantly is the kind of job responsibilities that you'll have on a day-to-day basis. So this could serve as a great starting point. Now let's say you know what particular industry that you want to work in, that is already you're ahead, or you're far ahead of the curve and you are in a great spot. You can start focusing on your why MBA answer. But let's say you do not know what is a particular industry or a particular sector that appeals to you. What you could do is look through job descriptions that come to the particular college that you're interviewing for and try to understand the kind of projects that you'll be working in. And when you see different sectors, let's say you're looking at operations job descriptions, you are looking at finance, you're looking at consulting, and so on, you'll be able to figure out which particular job description fits the kind of work that you want to be doing, and that will help you narrow down on the kind of industry or a sector that you want to work in. So this should hopefully help us pinpoint a particular sector that we want to work in. Now once we have that fixed, we can backtrack. So for example, you want to get into investment banking, you need to make up a story, or not necessarily make up a story, but you need to make a coherent narrative which shows that how you got to the point where you chose this particular career path. So this could range anything from having discussions with your father when you were young about the stock markets, how mutual funds work, and why a particular stock maybe had a rapid movement up and down, or what was the Hindenburg Adani story all about. And this, maybe some of these reports or some of these instances that sparked your interest in that particular field, and then what you did to improve your knowledge further. For example, let's say you led a finance society in your graduation days. That could be something that helped you, even that was something that helped you nurture your dream of becoming an investment banker or getting into equity research or getting into finance. So you need to bridge the gap between aspiration and actually taking a leap and actually taking the first step into your dreams of becoming an investment banker. You need to understand that just wanting to be something is not enough. You need to have gotten there organically. You need to have had a personalized reason of why you want to do what you want to do. So that is the first point I wanted to make, is that your answer should be personalized. You should subject each and every sentence that you say in your why MBA particular answer. You need to subject each and every sentence to a uniqueness test. So what is this uniqueness test? You need to ask yourself that if this particular sentence was said by anybody else, would that sentence still hold water or not? And if the answer to that question is yes, you should more likely refrain from using that answer. I'm not saying a blanket no to using all those sentences, but you should refrain from such sentences and you should try to make an answer that is personalized to your specific case. The second key aspect that we should understand is that clarity is crucial. Clarity is key. And why is that? Clarity shows that this person is well prepared, he knows where he wants to go, and he knows the way that will help him or her get there. So how do we achieve clarity? We need to talk to a lot of people, a lot of alumni of the particular school you're interviewing for, and try to understand their perspectives in whichever particular jobs or dream jobs of yours that they are already in, what they did to get there, and how that job particularly is, and what does their day to day look like. So that will help us get a lot of clarity. That is the second very crucial point I wanted to make. Next key aspect: avoid negativity. For example, you're in a dead end job, or you are in a place where you don't want to see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years. So what, you can't just go and say in the interview that I want to get out of here, I want to get to a better place. Your reasons of doing an MBA should never be that you want to get out of a particular place. They should always be looking forward to something new, some greater opportunity, and you should always be approaching your MBA journey from an optimistic viewpoint, and not one of pessimism. So please keep that in mind and do not frame your answers from a negative standpoint. Next, avoid ambiguity at all costs. Do not use words like I think, maybe, I feel. None of these words should make way into your YMB answer. You should be dead sure that whatever you're saying is damn right, and you shouldn't second guess any of the things that you're saying. And this kind of surety only comes when you have clarity. So these 2 points sort of go hand in hand, wherein if you are clear about your goals, you wouldn't be ambiguous, but if you are not clear, you would most likely be ambiguous. So take a lot of time, talk to a lot of people, talk to as many of your mentors, as many of your friends, as many of your seniors as possible, and try to gauge clarity about whatever field you want to get into. Next is my very own answer that I'll be writing down in the pinned comment section below, and that mostly revolves around how I want to grow my business, how my business has grown so far organically, and for me to be able to 100x this, I need to revamp my HR policies, I need to build teams and manage those teams effectively, I need to understand operations in and out. And these are some of the skills that a management education really helps you gauge, and the kind of peers that you meet, the kind of business solutions that they come up with, also inculcate a sense of problem solving in yourself. So that is the kind of lens that I'm approaching this with. Once we understand the gist of how we should approach our YMBA answer, we also need to understand that there are many other questions that stem from this particular topic. And one of the key ones that I wanted to discuss were what MBA from this school? There's a little bit of a typo here. I want to say why an MBA from this particular school. So why is it that you choose this particular school only? And you need to highlight the particular aspects that make this school unique. For example, I think IIM Rohtak has a very special program where they make students go to rural areas in order to develop their skills in the particular domain by solving problems in a rural setting. So that is one unique thing about their particular program. Then you could talk about foreign exchange affiliations that a particular university may have. Then one of the universities, I think IIM Lucknow, has a very good emphasis on entrepreneurship. So that is one key aspect that makes it unique. So these are some of the ways that you can approach this particular answer, wherein you want to describe that why I want to do an MBA from this particular school only. Another question that could come up is what plans after an MBA. So let's say you're in your family business, they might ask you whether you want to join your family business again or you want to pivot into the corporate world. So you need to have clarity as to what you're gonna do 2 years down the line after your MBA is over. Or if you're already in a corporate role, they might ask you that are you going to pivot your particular industry, or that is the kind of lens that you can approach it from. Or if you're a fresher, they might as well they might want to know where you see yourselves. So this sort of overlaps with the short term and long term sort of career plans that you may have. And one very interesting question that I've been asked in a mock interview was that what if you do not get into the MBA program of your choice this year? And you need to be prepared for this answer because you might not expect this. And you need to, and the answer that sort of I approach, my approach to this answer is that I say very respectfully that, while I hope that this is not the outcome that I have to face, but if life has other plans for me, I'll probably continue in my family business and at the same time take the CAT or the exam season once again. And that is the kind of lens that I approach it from. But yours could be different. You might say that it is imperative for me to get into an MBA program this year, so I'll most likely get into some program this year and try to get into corporate as soon as possible. There is no need to try to sugarcoat it. You could be as honest as you possibly can. Next, we have a bunch of HR questions. So why do we call these HR questions? These questions, this is because these questions are based on your personality, on your behavior, and how you fit into the particular organization, or since in this case we are interviewing for an MBA, how you fit into the particular institution or the B school that we are interviewing for. So that is the reason why they are called HR questions. Now let's look at some of the HR questions. The first is, what are the short term and long term career plans? As we've already discussed, nothing new with that. But yeah, one part about the kind of time horizon. Short term is mostly 3 to 5 years after your post MBA journey, that is your post MBA journey. And long term comes in maybe 5, 7, 8, 10 years. That how you see yourself, how you see yourself contributing to the particular organization that you're in 10 years down the line after your MBA journey. Strengths and weaknesses, as I've already discussed, you need to be able to back them with examples and how you stumbled upon those strengths and weaknesses. And most importantly, in the weaknesses part, what are you doing to cope up with those weaknesses? And they should not be cliched answers such as I am too focused on the details or something cliched like that, that the interviewers have probably heard tens of millions of times. So please be mindful about that. The next one that we are going to look at is, what was the biggest failure and what did you learn from that failure? Again, you should revisit maybe your graduation days, maybe your work experience days, wherein maybe you got into college and you were not able to adjust to an entirely new environment away from home. That could be a personal failure. Maybe you faced failure at work and how you coped up with it. And that is something that really helps an interviewer see that how you deal with a setback, whether you completely give up or whether you persevere and overcome the odds. The next one is, how would you add value to the cohort? In my opinion, a very, very important question. This could also come in the form of, why should we take you, or why should we not take other candidates and take you? Here you can talk about how you led a particular finance society in your college days, how you can talk about how you can do the same in this particular university and help out maybe students that come from another let's say educational background. Let's say if you're a commerce person, you can help out people from the engineering background and so on. Let's say you are like me, who is coming from a family business background, who has seen the ins and outs of business and how it works and the practical aspects of it, that you can help out the cohort by giving your insights. So that becomes a very interesting point to think about. Having had a look at a lot of HR questions, I have linked about more than 50 such HR questions down in the pinned comment section below. And I would urge you to have a look at them, which would help you not only crack interviews, but most importantly, understand yourself, which becomes a very, very important aspect when it comes to performing well in an interview. If you know yourself, there are much better odds of you clearing an interview. So that is one important aspect. And I also wanted to give you a caveat that while you may think some of these questions are very important, some of them may not appear to be asked in an interview, but they still are very, very crucial. Because if you have done your homework of getting to know yourselves, if you have thought about what is your biggest failure, what is your biggest success, what have you learned from it, what is the biggest strength, what is the biggest weakness, you are much more confident when you get into an interview, as opposed to if you are not prepared at all. So even if these questions do not necessarily pop up in an interview setting, you are much better off thinking about each and every one of these aspects than not preparing for them. So that's a little bit from my side, and I hope you got to learn something from this video. I'm really thankful that you watched till the end. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Bye.